Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the VRS GT Sprint Series Season 3 finale here at the wonderful Suzuka circuit here in Japan. I'm Austin Knight. I am joined by a first-time commentator and WGTC points leader, Mark Fletcher, and Tyler Maxon is in the booth controlling the cameras. Welcome, Mark.
Good evening. How are we doing?
I am doing just fine. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Excited for the race this evening? Should be a good one.
It's definitely looking like a great race. Formation lap is already underway. And after qualifying, we're going to do this row by row because, shared the load here. Pekka Tominen from Finland starts up front, followed by Kyle Dunlop.
And then Miko in third and Antonio in fourth.
They're followed by Gabriel and Jose.
And then we've got Lewis Bibby and Danny.
Who's followed by Matt and David.
And Elisa and Greg.
And behind them, it's Max Reed and Diddler.
And then we've got German and Mikau.
After them, it's Diego and Caden. Who's followed by
Stefan and James.
And behind them, starting in 21st, is is Icerin and Andy.
And then Ignorez and Patrick, and rounding out the field in 24th, 25th even, is Anderson.
Yes. That was the first time we've only done the first names, but I think we saved the most awkward parts out of there.
Yeah, and it's quite a quick formation lap here, isn't it? They're lining up through 130R, so we're going to be going green pretty soon.
Yeah, here at Suzuka, pretty long lap. They don't want to do the entire pace lap, so they're starting on the back straight. So I was used to the Road America start last night in the MX-5 series, and that was just forever. We were having a good talk, so no talk's going to happen here, as it's once and twice around the Casio Triangle and coming around the final curve. The Porsche Safety Car is heading into the pits right now, and the lights are gonna come on very soon, and we are, for one last time, underway for the VRS GT Sprint Series for Season 3.
Great start there from our pole man. Goes defensive really soon down the straight. The second place goes also onto the inside line.
Kyle Dunlop's staying in there in second. Coming into fourth, though, that McLaren of Gabriel Caviani moves up one spot already.
Yeah, so it looked to be a clean getaway. There was 2x2 halfway down, sort of the back end of the field, but now there's no one disappearing off our timing screens yet.
Big hit by Elias, and that's Matt Storgay Huntsveld. And he comes very risky.
No.
That's a massive collision.
That's
very
everyone
bad
avoids
track
that.
awareness, and there's more chaos at the back as two more cars go into the wall. That's a chaotic way to start out this race in the S's, and there were some definite curse words being said over the radio. We're going to have a replay. This is Ingmar Anderson. He was at the back end of this incident. See the pile up of cars, just everyone on the brake. And, well, when in doubt, back out. And he definitely did and went through that pack. And now he is up to 21st and up 4 places already.
Yeah, he's certainly moving up the field. The guy at the pack is still just about keeping everybody in check. Gap sort of at 0.6, so he'll be looking to stretch his legs a bit and try and lose the slipstream of that Merc, because that is going to be fast down the straight with Kyle.
Yeah, what I love about this field right now, the top 4 are all different manufacturers. We got an Audi, we got a Mercedes, we got a Ferrari, we have a McLaren. So a totally different breed of race currently going along right here.
Yeah, Gabriel's going to be absolutely flying in that McLaren. We know it's fast. I don't know what it's like over the full race distance, but he's keeping there. There's a good gap.
Yeah, I was driving the McLaren around here earlier today, and this thing just loves these S curves. So expect a lot of moves in tight situations from Gabriel from Brazil.
So your biggest movers then after lap 1, so the Audi currently in 15th, and that's Ernst. He's moved up 6 places. And Igmar, like you said, another Audi driver, moved up 5 from the start, getting through that carnage, going out onto the back.
Yeah, I believe Eisern, he was involved in that incident just at the very front of it, so he was very incident-heavy avoidance, but he also did make some on-track moves getting out of there. I believe we saw a few... Ooh! One of the BMWs got very loose outside Degna too.
Oh, and someone looks like they've gone off in the background, I think. I can't see who that was.
They're coming out of 230R. Down this little dip and into Spoon. Looking at David Poloni. Who's just coming around to Spoon right now. And this is a 40-minute race, so all these guys are going to be taking it pretty easy on each other until the very end of the race, because we've seen some very hectic finishing here, but expect a lot of moves coming down the back straight right here into 130R and maybe into the Casio Triangle. We're riding on board with Louis Bibby behind the Audi, and he gets a little bit loose on the exit of 130R. Louis Bibby around the outside into the braking zone. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers into the Casio Triangle? Louis Bibby and Jose Antonio Espada Aldeo still onto the inside and into final corner. Jose powers it out using that Audi power on it, but Louis Bibby on the Mercedes power going to carry it out. And these guys are still side by side. I believe Jose has a teammate with him as well, but going to the first turn, he has the position. And Jose is going to hold out Louis Bibby still, but Louis is powering it around the outside using the Mercedes downforce and handling to its advantage, but that Audi is so quick through these curves right here. Louis gets on top of the curve, and Jose, wonderful defending by him.
Yeah, that's one place Lewis is not going to want to be in between 2 teammates. Everyone knows that ends in disaster. So Lewis is just probably just trying to keep his nose clean. I think he's got the pace to catch the top sort of 5, 6, but if he can get through here, that's going to be obviously plain sailing.
Yeah, we've seen Louis Bibby race in the front of these fields a lot, but in between these 2 Audis, he's got to defend and attack at the exact same time, but he's going to have a lot of work cut out for him. As we see, if he didn't like flashing, I believe that was from Davis Pleone. Oh, Davis Pleone absolutely murders Daniel De La Fuente in the hairpin. And we definitely need a replay from that, because that was an absolute braking zone disaster right there.
At least it was a safe rejoin, though.
Well, we're watching this from Diego's point of view in that car, and you just see the other car of, here's De La Fuente, and that is just a murder from the BMW driver.
Yeah, I think he went for the outside, but I don't think he realised that he was going to get turned in on. Whether he would have stopped is the next question, but that's obviously ruined his race and the other guy's race, so that's dropped them back out of, well, P8 now, isn't it, down into P19, so...
He lost it 130R. He definitely has suspension damage, and I believe he's going to teleport back to the pits. Yeah, very good. And
yeah, race over there.
23. Back up to the battle for 6. Aledo and Bibby still going at it. The Hydra car versus the Evo SR team.
Yeah, so at least that's now released Bibby, so he can attack onto the back of Garcia.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about the car behind, but he might need to worry about Pleone. Because David, he was the car involved in that incident. I don't believe he has any front end damage from that, so he's going to be on a charge. We see him being very aggressive, but a little bit unreliable on the braking.
Yeah, it's surprising. You know, he's got a lot of iRacing. I think he's, well, as you can see, ranked second in the field. So, you know, maybe a rare mistake there from David.
Yeah, I saw when he was coming out of Degna too. Before that incident, he was flashing his lights at the car ahead. So I believe he wasn't happy about that corner. Maybe a little bit of brake check mid corner. So David will definitely be on the charge.
Yeah, he does look like he's closed up to the back of Bibby a bit. Let's have a look at the sector times. Yeah, he is quicker than Bibby. Only a few thousandths of a second in each sector, but round here, It's a lot of time with a 150. The top guys are running a 158, but it's pretty close. I mean, back down in 22nd, they're still only running 201, so there's only a couple of seconds splitting the whole field here.
Yeah, Suzuka is it's a very easy track to lose track of the guys ahead as around the outside of 130R, riding on the AstroTurf. David Maloney taking as much track as he can to maximize the speed. And coming out of the Casio Triangle, I think we're going to see Lewis Bibby try for another overtake. He's got the run outside of last curve, giving that Mercedes little badge time right there. He dives out to the inside of Jose Antonio Espada Aledo and swoops around the front of him going to the first turn, and he absolutely nailed that overtake.
Yeah, it didn't really give him much choice, did he? You know, he's right up behind him and then made the pass before they even got into the braking zone. So yeah, good pass by Lewis. What can he do now? See if he can catch onto the back of Antonio.
Well, first he's got to maximize his gap away from Jose as we're looking at Antonio Garcia, but Jose is definitely still on the hunt, using that Audi's nimbleness in sectors 1 and 2 to his advantage.
Yeah, it gets a bit more tough now that he's passed. Because the lap times are all pretty similar at the top. No one's making massive gaps.
Yeah, look at their best and last times. It's only 0.2 that separate Bibby and Aledo. And it's just so close to each other that any mistake is going to give each other the advantage. And Jose went a little bit wide on the exit at turn 1. And that's actually promoted David Pleone back up to the rear of this fight. Yeah,
he's definitely catching this group, isn't he? He's going to start putting pressure on. I think he'll be there in about a lap or 2.
Yeah, we've seen the BMW be very nice handling all around each circuit. Doesn't really excel in one area or not, unlike a few of these other cars. We're swooping back over to Gabriel and Antonio for the battle for 4th.
Yeah, this McLaren's going well, isn't it? You know, he's not losing time yet. The top 3 seem to have broken away a bit. Look, so we've got nearly 3-second gap now to the top 3. As you can see it on your screens as they come down the main straight here.
Yeah, Pika, Kyle, and Nico is absolutely blitzed the field, and they're having their own separate fight for first, but it's not really much of a fight, but more a procession right now, all separated by a second from each other.
Yeah, it's a nice looking livery on that Audi. I think they've really gone to town there. He's obviously rocking the #1 plate. Nearly 7,000 iRating, so this guy, you know, he knows how to drive. So he's just going to be managing his tyres, potentially maybe saving fuel, just to try and make his life a little bit easier. He's got a 1.7 second gap, so he doesn't need to look in his mirrors anymore. He's just going to be driving away from the field as he is doing so.
Back to the battle for 4th right now, on board with Antonio Garcia. Chasing down very late on the brakes, and he's absolutely closed up that gap to the McLaren of Gabriel Cavagnini.
Yeah, Garcia that time by 0.2 quicker. So yeah, you're right, he's closing.
And we're on to the battle for 13th right now, and a little bit dicey outside the hairpin. It looked like Eisern, he had a run from the BMW. That BMW Martini livery car driven by Michael E. Gross got a little bit loose on the exit, and Eisern got a little bit too excited on the gas, and his front end just started bouncing up and down on the curb, and that was pretty much a killed opportunity for Eisern. Up to Jose Antonio Espada Soledo going into 130R, leading out David Pleone. And David, he's looking to the inside of Casio Triangle. We've seen him being late and aggressive on the brake. He hops over the curb, and that's going to be a 1X, definitely. And David, around the inside, going for a little bit of switchback, but gets blocked by the Audi. Will he have the run on the front straight? He's in the drats. He's getting spaces. He's going to dive up to the inside. There's still side by side. We got a drag race here in Suzuka.
Yeah, Jose's been here before, hasn't he? Lewis Bibby did exactly the same move 2 laps before.
He might get him on the switchback, though, using that Audi to his advantage into the S's around the outside. He might try to make a move, but he gets pushed off out of the way, and David Pleone moves up into 7th.
Yeah, so Plerney up 3.
Oh, here comes Jose, though. Jose not one to get out of the fight. Jose is still fighting back through Dunlop curve. They go back to David's teammate of iRacing Cubelis in that BMW. He's also having a battle with a Mercedes and a Audi. Oh wait, that is a...
Yeah, he's
Audi.
quick as ice on him. He's moved up 7 places, but around him again, Stefan's moved 4. Michael, he's moved 3. So you know they're having a good battle. These boys here. It's just going to be, I think, about who makes the mistake first. You know, who can put the pressure on as they look. I said probably going to look for the inside here. He's going to have a bit of a run.
Oh, they both went inside. That was the defensive hold and an offensive hold, but he's got him on the exit. The Mercedes went wide once more, and Acelis Cabellas gets around him on the inside and definitely on the exit. And he's our biggest mover so far with 8 places made up in the field. He gets a little bit loose in the back end, coming around that corner. That Mercedes is closing down on him going into Spoon Curve, and we're all taking a little bit different lines for each other. It's this back straight. That's going to be a very crazy fight, especially with that Mercedes power that Michael E. Gross has. Oh, and up at front, Gabriel Cavanaghi gets turned around by the number 10, and Antonio Garcia absolutely jumps up to 5th place.
So how did this start then? This is through 130R. So the Audi. Oh, looks pretty good here. Was it a massive lunge then into Casino Triangle? Yes. That's exactly what it was.
But heads up driving by the... oh, Gabriel is off the track once more going into turn 1, so he might be suffering from a little bit of damage. Didn't think he needed to go into the pits, but he definitely needs to go into the pits to definitely fix something. He has some problems with that McLaren.
Yeah, it doesn't look as stable as it did. Let's have a ride on board. Yeah, something's not right there. It looks to be a lot of oversteer as soon as he stands on the throttle.
Yeah, back tire might be kinked in just a tad bit. Wouldn't affect the steering that much, but he's literally turning right to go left, and yeah, there's something kinked in at a wrong spot. It gave him a little bit of extra caster. I think that might be the left rear tire that has the damage on it.
Yeah, now he's going to get swarmed here. So Antonio still in this group, didn't lose too many places, but has dropped a place down now to David and Lewis. Lewis got through that as well, so Lewis up to P4.
Yeah, Lewis Bibby, he was in the middle of that incident and just kind of split the edge of 2 crashing cars and jumped up in there. Now, I do want to mention the other car that hit him, he did wait. He did wait after that incident. He totally admitted guilt right there.
Yeah.
And just waited for his rival and then passed him again.
Knew that it was his bad, and you know, it takes a big person to go, right, okay, that was my fault. Saves a protest.
Yes, it does. And it saves a very angry, very angrily worded message.
Yes, everybody's had them straight into their private messages. You know that's when you're in trouble.
Right on with Antonio Garcia. He is still following David Pleoni. And David, after overtaking him once, is pretty much holding the field right now.
Yeah, so the difference between their best and they're both their best laps isn't a lot. So Pleoni could have been gifted by that because he was starting to catch that group after the slight incident he had at the start of the race. But Bibby's not too far at the road. 1.5 seconds. That's actually quite a feasible gap around here, you know.
Looking at the American of Greg Salmons. Greg is chasing down Elias Brigson, Elias number 22 car. He's very high up there compared to his I rating of Greg. And Greg looking around the outside of Degna 2. Coming into the hairpin. Well, is he going to try for a little bit of move and maybe a switchback here? He's setting him up. Is that Mercedes going to go wide? No, they both go wide. And that's given the BMW a great chance to get Greg outside of 230R.
Yeah, I think we have to appreciate how colourful these skins are in this midfield. There's some good skins going on here.
Yeah,
So,
people, the
slightly.
trading paints community absolutely getting their money's worth right now. As the other American of Caden Ben started down on this fight, up to 5th. David Pleone still chasing down, but he's still defending from the two charging Audis of Antonio Garcia and Jose Antonio Espada Soledo.
So again, your top 3 is 3 different manufacturers, which is great to see. You know, in a championship like this, that you could pick the car you're most comfortable with. I know Becca is checking out a bit with a 3-second gap. That's coming down as they go down the straight, but it's around a 3-second gap and into the pits.
This is a very early pit stop for Greg. He's going to go with a little bit earlier than halfway, so he's caught up in some traffic. Might have had a little bit of damage. Lewis Bibby's off the track outside of turn 1. Everyone's really kind of going off the track a little bit, but Lewis Bibby was kind of way out there. Both wheels probably got the off-track warning on our live timing software. That's when their number goes red. That means they're off track. And Andy Dalton also goes into pits, Lewis Bibby's teammate.
Throw in the strategic card then coming in really early in this race.
Yeah, usually you see guys pitting in with about 30 minutes left in the session. Now Suzuka is a little bit more demanding of a track, so they might be seeing a little bit different strategies. We saw that definitely last week in Summit Point, where they went to about 28 minutes in before the leader went in, and usually they stay out there to about 30-35.
Yeah, so David not making too many inroads onto the back of Lewis Bibby. Obviously, Lewis made that mistake coming through the first corner, but he seems to have settled down again. There's only got Antonio behind, and there's a gap back to Hosio. So this is a good battle. Lewis is just going to be wanting to keep his nose clean now. But the BM is looking fast coming into 130R. Is there going to be another late move here from David? Lewis will know it's coming though. Pretty even on the brakes through there actually. So what's the slipstream like of this BMW? Is he going to be able to tuck it behind the back of this Mercedes? And hopefully try and mount a pass. So that time by, the fastest in that group was actually your 6th place driver, Antonio. Antonio took 0.2 of a second out of David and also 0.2 of a second out of Lewis.
Yeah, David and Lewis having a massive fight through the S's. Looks like David's got a little bit of a gain heading into Dunlop Curve. Might try to make something happen into Degna 1 and 2, but if I were him, I would just set up a move going into the hairpin. Degna 1 and coming up to David to Degna 2, riding over the curb. Lewis Bibby is going a little bit wide. That's going to hurt his speed just a tad bit, but I think that's actually helped him because it scared David Pleone out of the gas a little bit, and the rule of when in doubt, back out definitely helped right there. He was expecting Lewis Bibby to crash. And now they're heading into 230R, and don't cat out Jose Antonio Espada Soledo in 7th.
Yeah, he's running a pretty lonely race at the minute, isn't he? He's not, you know, he's got nothing behind really. He's running around the same kind of lap times as the two behind, so as Alicia and Caben. So he's just probably going to want to get onto the back of Antonio as well, just try and make this a 5-car fight.
Yeah, 5-car fight is definitely underway. Caden Ben just sitting in the slipstream of that very quick Mercedes. They go around 130R now. And F1 cars, that's flat out. In here, not so much.
No, it's definitely a lift into 130R here today, I should think. Especially in this heat. You know, it's warm here today, so they're going to have to manage their tyres a bit because, you know, given the last 10 minutes, they're going to be suffering. So that might be the reason why everyone's, well, a couple of people are pitting early, just try and extend the life of the tyres a bit. Still
yeah, they don't usually. Yeah, we don't usually pit for tires in the VSR GT Sprint Series. That's pretty much the meta here. But we have a great battle for fourth right now between Bibi, Leone, and Garcia. We've seen these guys have this fight throughout the season, especially at Bathurst, Barber, last week. Walking sled, though, these guys were just insane.
Yeah, to me it looks like that BM's better through all the snake section, as they call it. You know, he's got a lot of traction, but Lewis gets the Mercedes turned in and gets on the gas early here to stop that race cat car coming through. But this one does look a lot closer than he was. He's going to send it up the inside. He's going to try. Lewis knows he's there, and up the inside he goes. Is that going to be enough room for Antonio?
Mercedes is on the power outside the ace, but he right on the curb, and the BMW is going to have the lead. But coming into the 230R, the BMW will have the lead. But look at that Audi right behind of Antonio Garcia. Antonio might try something, and David defends onto the inside on Spoon, and here comes the Audi of Antonio Garcia. He's going to try to bully his way into fifth.
Yes, this is going to be a dumb move into 130R, because I can't imagine Lewis Bibby's going to want to go too wide. But that Mercedes looking fast.
He's also got the draft of the BMW. They're switching all around, going to 130R. They return back to Leone, Bibi, and Garcia, 4th, 5th, and 6th. 130R and into the Casio triangle.
Yeah, everyone onto the brakes perfectly there. Bibi closes in slightly. So what's his good run going to be like down the straight? Can David keep that BMW into the middle? Goes defensive really early and moves back over to the racing line. So that race for Cat car, keeping it nice and steady. Yeah, Lewis doesn't try anything this time round, and Antonio keeps it in check as well. Here's where I expect to see this BM pull away a bit, actually, because the last couple of laps he has put some time on Bibi. Does look neater into the first one. The BM just changes direction just ever so slightly better than that Mercedes. Maybe Lewis has set his car up to be a bit more safer, and doesn't want something that's going to not reward him if he makes a couple of mistakes. But Antonio getting closer. Is he going to think about it up into the hairpin? But again, Bibi using all of the track.
On the ace and Degna too, and Antonio was very cautious around the back of Bibi, and he got him right there.
Yeah, that Mercedes was going sideways pretty quick. He did well to save that, because that was AstroTurf tarmac grass, is how that went. So Bibi got to compile himself now. And the gap for second down to 0.6 of a second. We're on board with the Ferrari closing into the back of Kyle Dunlop in the Mercedes.
Yeah, and as we got a little bit of a lull of session, we're going to go on board Pekka Tumani, and as he takes us around a lap of Suzuka coming down the front straight across the line. Now he's been very dominant. 5-second gap to the field behind, and it's a very tricky setup into the first turn. It's 2 turns really, but they is known as the first turn. Modulating the throttle, coming out onto the gas and into the famous S curves of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now it's a very rhythmical dance on the throttle through here. Never really want to get on the brake. As you see the rev limiter never shifting out of third as they come up into Dunlop.
Yeah, tricky corner that one, because it fires you out wide. But you've got to get it over to the left-hand side here, into Degna 1. Roll the curb and into Degna 2. Need to get good traction here under the bridge. So using all the track and a little bit more, heading up into the hairpin. Sharpest braking point, bar the chicane at the end. So Pekka, first gearlet, gets great drive out of there and round into 200R.
Yeah, coming out of 200R, you're approaching the famous Spoon curve. This giant carousel-like of a turn. Turns 13 and 14 right here. Very tricky to get right because it's 2 different turns at the exact same time. Coming out of Spoon and down this long back straight. We've seen a lot of drivers have a little bit of battling right here. We definitely saw that throughout the race. And up to the famous fast flick of the 130R. coming into the Casio triangle, hard on the brakes. We've seen this work well for a few drivers and work disastrously in other situations. And coming out of the relatively nicely named last curve across the line, that's a lap around Suzuka. Thank you, Pekka.
Yeah, I saw the Pekka. You know, he did just downshift. It's a slight lift into 130R, and the downshift seemed to help him there. And look at this, the battle for second place between Dunlop and Numanite is getting close. We're down to 0.2 of a second. So Kyle, is he beginning to struggle in that Mercedes?
He's going to struggle a little bit in the S sections. We all know on how the Ferrari handles through here. It's not as fast as the other cars, but in the curves it pretty much holds its own, especially if you know how to handle it. And the Ferrari is one of the most used GT cars in all of the iRacing services, but it's also up against the most well-used GT car in all of iRacing, the Mercedes-AMG GT3, and we see the Mercedes always near the top of this series, but very few races it's actually won. It's been outpowered by a few Audis and a few McLarens throughout the time. Oh, that Ferrari gets very loose. Miko, nice recovery, but that battle for second is all but over right now, and he's going to have a little bit left. We have 2 minutes left until we hit 30 minutes. We're going to see most of the guys headed to the pit lane. Half the field is already pitted right now. It's just the top 13 that have not gone into the pits.
Yeah, Miko had a bit of a bibby special, we'll call that, you know, just catching the grass on the outside there. Sent the car sideways again, did well to hold it because that wall approaches pretty quick. Miko actually had the third fastest lap on that penultimate lap there, behind Pika, who's still the only driver in the 158s. So yeah, he was going all right, but that's going to drop him down a bit. But hopefully he'll get back in the slipstream and get back onto the back of Dunlop. Depends what they're going to do in the pit lane, because that is where you can lose a lot of time. And as you can see, the battle for 4th and 5th heating up in between Garcia and Ranio.
Well, Kyle Dunlop has just gone into the pit lane. He's the first driver into the pit lane of the leaders, and the 13th driver as well in the pit lane. And here we go, side by side, Gabriel Cabani, nicely looking gentleman right there, coming out of 130R. He's battling with Rabel for 10th place for SUB Racing. He's battling with the Team ACR Mercedes. They both dive into the pits at the same time. I thought Gabriel was going to carry off that lap in that McLaren, but they both head into the pits, so you're going to have a little bit of a pit stop battle right now as Pleone and Garcia are back at it again.
Yes, this battle is not going away, is it? And Bibby seems to have dropped off the back of these two a little bit. He's fallen into clutching with Jose just about. You know, as you said, these guys are quick. He's been racing all year. But you've got David and Antonio going at it. Probably looking at pitting this time by for these guys.
Yeah, pit lap should be around 32 minutes for these guys right now. That's around the usual time, right after the 30-minute, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast. We were at minute 31, so 10 minutes remain here in Suzuka. That means around 10 laps remain here in the final round of the VRS GT Sprint Series here on iRacing 4 Season 3.
Yeah, so the gap now in between, as you can see on your screen, so you've got 2/10 in between 3rd and 4th, and 3/10 in between 5th and 6th. So, the battles aren't going away. They're going to get heated in these last 10 minutes. So as they come down to 130R, is there anybody who's going to blink first on the pit lane strategy?
Well, I'm looking at Pekka Tamayan, and he's still driving away. He's avoiding the pit lane, but his second place follower in that Ferrari, Miko Norman, he's going to pit lane. I believe David is going to follow him. Yep, BMW late dive into there, came across the gas, out, in. Pretty much just happened on the radio right there. But David's into the pits, Antonio's into the pits, Luis Bibi's in the pits, Jose Antonio Espada is in the pits. His name is very fun to say, I must say.
So that is everybody apart from and Kyle on his outlap here. So what has he been able to do on that outlap?
Coming out of the pits, Kyle Della and Mikhail Nurman, These two were battling for second and third, and Miko is now sitting in second still. Kyle Dunlop did get a good jump out of there. He actually lost a few places, but considering that he went into the pits a lap earlier from where he was in third. Came out in third, but he had a good outlap, and he closed up that gap as these two, Lewis Bibi and Antonio Garcia, they're still battling out outside the pit lane.
Yeah, Bibi has closed that gap in the pit strategy. So did he. Obviously, a little bit later on the brakes, and maybe stopped on his marks perfectly. So yeah, this battle's definitely on now, isn't it? And David's got on the road a bit now, though. I don't know what he did during the pit lane.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that Pekka Termanian has not gone into the pits. He's just showing his dominance. He's at the pit lane right now. He's at the end of the track, so we're going to see if he dives it into the pits right here outside of Casio Triangle, and he's going to put that Audi into the pits. And, well, he's got a massive... He has a 1.9 kilometer...
We've gone into a Google Maps.
He has a massive lead of about, I think that was 40 seconds at its max.
I love that. I've never seen that. You lead by 1.3 kilometers. That's brilliant. That's showing his dominance, though. It is showing his dominance here.
Yeah, Suzuka is one of his favorite tracks. I must say, everyone really loves this track and everything. He's coming out of the pit lane. He's not even going to be challenged by Miko Linderman. That 40-second gap is going to drop down, but I only think it's going to be about 12 seconds at its most, maybe 10. I say it corrected at 8.
That's going to stop at 9, yeah, knew it. Oh,
No,
there we go.
8. There we go.
So, yeah, Pekka obviously saving a bit of fuel, going a lap longer than anybody else. Doesn't need to do anything special now. You know, he's lapping faster than everybody else in most of this race, but this battle definitely heating up between Bibi and Garcia with just over 5 minutes to go.
These two have been going at it all the time for different positions, I must say, but they've been all over the place with each other. But it looks like Bibi is losing ground to Garcia in these S's, but he is gaining it up in the more slower section and on the straights. But that's promoting Aledo to sit in that draft and catch back up to Bibi.
Yeah, Bibi does seem to be struggling through that S section. The car just doesn't seem to turn. It's quite docile. It doesn't look like it. You know, he's obviously just going for a finish. You've always got to think of championship points, especially if you only need a couple in these last rounds. You know, to get rid of your drop scores. But he's going all right. You know, 6th place. He'll be happy with that, I'm sure.
I remember if I was right. Last round, Kyle Dunlop was in 6th in the overall VRS GT Sprint Series Championship on iRacing. So he's going to definitely need a lot of these points right now. But Tiro Mayan, I think, was up there with the top guys as well. As this battle is carrying on in the closing minutes. 4 minutes remain here in Suzuka.
Yeah, this is looking at the closest battle on track for the time being.
Actually, that would be the battle for 12th.
Yeah, I've just seen that.
Between Huntsville and Cavagnani. And they're going at each other through 130 yard. They're going to be side by side, and Gabriel Cavagnani going up onto the inside into 130 yard. They're going to go side by side through here, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on to your seatbelts. That was wild. And coming into the Casio Triangle, look at that Mercedes looking up to the inside. And late on the brakes comes that Martini liveried Mercedes, and they're battling with the Audi. And Michael E. Grossi went for the move, but unable to get it. And through the last curve, that's Matt Sorge Huntsveld holding it out for 13th. And it's all going crazy in this midfield right now.
Yeah, and Matt wasn't keen there, was he? He was like, oh, okay, I'm going to get past once, but I'm definitely not going to get past twice. That's not going to happen today.
So our battle box comes up for the battle for 12th. We got Cabellas and Gross battling out in the back of this fight. And he got onto the curve into the S's. He almost went into the back of the Mercedes. into the S-curves. We all know how powerful the Audi is through these curves, how light and nimble it is. But he's just chasing on the back of that Mercedes. He has nowhere to go around. We'll see if he tries something outside of Dunlop Curve.
Yeah, the Audi definitely looking the best car around here at the minute, as the 10-second gap for the leader shows, but also, you know, all the way through the field. But
oh, he's got him on Dagna 2. On the exit of Dagna 2, the Mercedes had a little bit of lapse of judgment. On the exit, he slipped back into the draft of the Mercedes, and he's going to try it around the outside, moving the hairpin.
yeah, that's a long way around there. The Mercedes just stuck it early on the defensive there, so there was nowhere to go for Zern then.
Ooh,
and the battle here for 7th. Here we go. This is Bibby again. Bibby's in the action today, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, Bibby and Aledo, these two have been absolutely all over each other. I'm not sure why it says the battle for 2nd. This is really the battle for 4th. But, all right. Oh, battle for 5th. I stand corrected. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, so David's checked out of this group now, and it looks like Garcia's just dropped off the back. Oh, and is this another pass?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's
this is Matt's getting back past through Gabriel, so not sure what went on there, whether he just got the draft down the straight.
Around last corner, we will see this McLaren absolutely trounce the Audi right here on this straight. And he might try something going into turn 1, but I think he's just setting him up as we're in for the last lap here in Suzuka with 1 minute remaining.
Side by side then, out of Dunlop into Degner's for Lewis Biggie and Joseph Albedo. Bibby again needs some good traction off here, using all of the curb. Oh, those two are so close to going round. Bibby going to go defensive up into the hairpin. Yeah, puts his car a width away from the inside, and around the outside he's trying.
There's a bump mid-corner that makes cars look that have massive acceleration just lose it right there. But Jose Antonio Espada Salado definitely chasing down Luis Bibby, and he will try something in the final corner as Peke Tamanian, I think, is definitely just going as slow as he can to pass the timer. The timer goes out, and he's going to win the very last race in the VRS GT Sprint Series here in Suzuka and of Season 3. He's definitely going to be happy about that. And now back to Jose Antonio Espada Salado and Luis Bibby.
Yeah, last corner. It's got to be a dive here. Is Lewis going to cover it? No. Didn't need to. There was no dive attempt here. So Bibby is going to take 5th. And Jose 6th.
I believe he is okay with that. But looking at Gross and Cavahagni, these two are going side by side through 130R. It looks like Gross going to have the advantage with that Mercedes power going into 130R. But that McLaren, we've seen him try a few dives up the inside. Are we going to see a massive dive into the Casio Triangle, or are they just going to be happy with the position?
Don't know whether he's... Oh, well,
Ooh, he's got an exit. But it's not going to be too much to see him struggling with the car right there. And Gross going to come across the line, followed by Cavanani and Blanco right there. Ooh,
so everybody else fast through. Yeah, Andy, Lewis's teammate, rocking the same skins. Finish up in P19. That's 3 places more than what he started, so that's good.
One beat up Mercedes in front of him. That is Albante. But that after that incredible race, it's the Finns standing 1-2. Pekka Tamani and Mikko A. Norman standing up there 1-2. They're followed by Kyle Dunlop, David Pleone, Luis Bibi, Jose Antonio Aledo, Antonio Garcia, Greg Sammons, Caden Ben, Diddler Bubel, Elias Brexton, Matthias Jorge Huntsfeld, Michael Eves Gross, Gabriel Cavagni, Diago Blanco, Stephen Deck, Iser Cabellas, German Abante, and there's a name that I'm not seeing. No, we did get him. No, it's saying Jose did not finish the race. Oh, there's Jose. He's in 6th. Didn't show out his first name.
Ah, yeah.
I was a little bit confused right there, but that has been it for your VRS GT Sprint Series. I believe we do have other stuff from Tyler. So Tyler, if you unmute yourself right now, I believe you'll have something to say to everyone about Apex Racing TV.
Yeah, so we actually just quickly have to get this broadcast wrapped up and get over to the BSR MX5 Tuesday Cup live on the iRacing Esports Network here in just 15 minutes time. So be sure to go ahead and jump on over there. And we pretty much that's all I've got here. And that is pretty much it for the final round of the VRS Sprint Championship live from Suzuka.